The thing I'm afraid of is maybe a complacency sets in when Ireland does well. You know, you sort of rest on your laurels, and Ireland can't afford to do that. It's too small. And especially as, in my view, Europe wobbles now, and by that I mean the whole project of the EU. And we see what happens if nationalism rears its ugly head again. So that the three horsemen of the European apocalypse would be protectionism, nationalism and populism, and they're essentially the same thing. And we're heading over the next couple of years towards that. And Ireland is in a position of having a stable economy, growing, dealing with the problems that the rest of Europe is dealing with difficulty like migration and that which triggers all sorts of social unrest. But it doesn't appear to be heading in the populist direction of the rest of Europe, which is essentially nationalist and therefore anti-European. So Ireland has a key polar position to play in the coming Europe. It also has the economy to allow it a voice. Lose the economy, lose your sense of a future, of a growing country, you lose your voice at the hub of Europe. And given that of its current solidity, people listen. Given the success over the last 40 years of moving from essentially a rural zero economy to a dynamic society, in my lifetime, amazingly. And I'm always cautious that, you know, because I did okay, I come back and I stay in a posh hotel and I think everyone's doing okay. I'm aware that I've got to avoid that, so when I come here I wander around through the more difficult parts of town that I was familiar with as a kid, or because we've been playing in you know, down in Kerry and other places over the last year. I've sort of mooched around to get much more of a feel of it instead of making things up in my head. And while there are social problems, while they're, you know, massively difficult to deal with, why I don't understand why there isn't more action in some areas, like immediately, which is possible. Compared to the rest of Europe, which, you know, the rats have travelled around all of last year, the celebratory 50 years, you know, this is solid here. And I'm sure there's no sense of optimism, really. I'm not sure if I can get that from Ireland, you know. But optimism is false unless there's some solidity underneath it. I keep coming back to that. So instead of this tenuous country, this place in my youth of no future whatsoever, there really is a pathway. I mean, a proper pathway to being a very it is a very serious country and going forward remaining so. Its positioning of what it wants to do is sound, and you've got the stability inherent in the new structures that have been built to allow for that. So if that sounds all like me making things up, it is, but I mean, I'm really summing up what I've experienced here over the last year, and I've been back and forth a lot. So different to the Ireland I left 1,000 years ago, so different. And therefore, you know, I'm sort of thrilled by it, really.